everybody. My name is Leslie Pyle, and I am the founder of HireMyMom.com. And today I'm so excited to welcome TaJuanna Taylor with Bootstrap Dreams with me to share all of her knowledge on project management and so much more. So tell us about you, TaJuanna, and how you got started and a little about your business.
Thank you, Leslie. I'm so glad to be here with you and the Hire My Mom community. It's so exciting. So, as you've expressed, TaJuanna Taylor with Bootstrap Dreams, and it's all about helping small businesses take action on new profitable ideas, ditch the overwhelm, and use processes and systems to achieve desired results. And I find that with a lot of high achieving visionaries, which many of us are, and I'm truly a creative at heart, have the idea. That's not the problem. It's making the decisions and following through with them so that that idea manifests, right? Becomes the reality that they absolutely envision and believe they should be having. And so through 15 years project management experience, a certified project management professional, so PMP, if that means anything to anybody, I use that expertise now in full-time entrepreneurship to help great people, business owners who are absolutely leveraging their zone of genius, leveraging their expertise, using these transferable skills to provide solutions and help people thrive and not just survive, you know, our everyday living personally and professionally.
Yes. And isn't that just one of the struggles that entrepreneurs have is, the ideas usually aren't the problem. It's the follow through and it's
Yes.
understanding of what to do next and how to do it and being organized. So it sounds like
Mhm.
you are a great resource in that area.
Yes.
So I saw on your profile that you are a daughter of our esteemed US Army.
Yes, I am. I am so proud of that. And my dad, he served so many years, and my mother, supporting him. And it's a huge part of my foundation. People are like, you are so bubbly, you are so smiley. But when you get serious, like you are on a mission. And I was like, that's my, that's that childhood, seed that was planted in me. It's like by any moral means necessary, you complete the mission. Right.
Yeah.
And even if that means bowing out gracefully, because sometimes we have fantastic ideas, but it might not absolutely fulfill the need. And so we have to think outside of ourselves. Like, it's not that the idea was bad. Maybe it's before its time. Maybe it's just not exactly in the way that people need to see the value. What can we tweak? So let's be okay with being flexible, stepping away from that. Yet your mission, your purpose, your destination, who you are, what you represent is still valuable. So that doesn't define, that idea that you didn't leverage maybe the way you want doesn't define you if it didn't work out. Now you just know more than what you did when you started. And so people are always amazed when they're like, oh, she's serious now. I'm like, oh yes, we're getting busy now.
Yeah.
Now we're doing our thing. So, and it's without being itchy with the B in front of it, right? It's just making sure that we're focused and you're getting the outcomes that you absolutely desire. And it's reminding you, because sometimes we get squirrely and it's like, hey, Leslie, that is fantastic, but we're going to put that in the idea bank,
All right.
because what you expressed wanting to accomplish was this and this, and that doesn't quite fit into
Right.
this focus, right? No scope creep.
Yes. Yes. So do you offer with your project management sort of coaching as well?
Absolutely. Accountability coaching is like that it couples together the project management, business consulting, and the accountability coaching, because we are working with people, right? It's not machines. And so you can apply project management literally to anything. Yet when we're working with people, I find that we have to address the person first. And my clients literally, they're like, you're like my business therapist. I come to you with my ideas, I come to you with my expertise, you teach me how to package it, how to profit from it. Yet I feel like I leave the sessions being dealt with as a person. And
Yeah.
that is so meaningful to me, because who we are personally and who we are professionally aren't all that different, or at least they shouldn't be, right?
Mhm.
If we're aligned. So I'm always, whatever you feel led to share with me when we work together,
Mhm.
we start the sessions with, Leslie, how are you? How's your family? How are the kids? Like, how are things going? And then that helps manage reasonable expectations as we are planning, whether it be you yourself or what you intend to delegate to your team.
Mhm.
We know, because of other things that are happening externally to the business, we can figure out how to leverage, right? How to manifest those opportunities. So, because we
Yes.
tend, again, overachievers, we tend to be like, oh, I'm going to do these 8 things this week. And it's like, no, you have your anniversary, your dog just came out of the vet, your mom is like, no, not 8 things this week. We're going to focus on these solid 3 so that you have room to be available for what's important as well, which is,
Right.
life and family. So,
Yes.
yeah.
So what stage, when someone comes to you for help,
Mhm.
what stage of the business are they usually in?
You know what? They're usually either ambitious entrepreneurs, so they're aspiring,
Uh-huh.
right? They might still be working full time and they're like, no, I am going to make this big leap. Or they're already a champion in business and they want to position themselves to launch a new opportunity. So it really, there's not one or the other. It's where you are. My big thing is that you have decided what you want to do. And that's where my done formula comes in, right?
Yes,
Because
and that was my next question. I want to know what the done formula is.
Absolutely. I'm so glad you asked. And I'm glad that how natural that segue happened. So the done formula is, project management. When you're coming from a big corporate setting, it can be overwhelming and you don't need all the hard set nuances, although I do stick closely to the best practices. So instead of going to the 48 processes that project management truly and breaking all those down, we don't need all that, right? On small business, we look at defining. If you haven't yet decided what you want to do, we have to take a step back and first define, right? Because we cannot execute ideas, we can execute decisions.
Mhm.
So after we have brainstorm, we've gone through ideation, now you're defining what you want, so you know what it is, who it's for, why you're doing it, where it needs to be implemented, and you're able to then make the decisions on what can happen, and
Mhm.
we work together, we co-create how you're going to go forward with it, right? So
Yeah.
define. If you've already defined all those things, then decide, right?
Okay.
Now, because a lot of times our ideas are multifaceted, very seldom are they just one thing, right? One
Right.
overarching goal, but they usually have, you might do a podcast, you might want to, have a digital presence, you might want to, all these things. And so it's like, now of your overarching idea, let's decide where our level of effort will go.
Mhm.
And then put that in an order of priority.
Yes.
Because when we do too many things at one time, right, it's like water. You get diluted and then you get frustrated and you get overwhelmed and you're not making any traction. And so
Mhm.
it's like, let's accomplish this overarching goal by deciding what you want to do next. And then what's the order of priority towards accomplishing it. And then we focus all of our levels of efforts for that. So that's a define, and then the decide, right?
Yes.
The O in done is own, right? So yes, it is your idea, but just because it's your idea, you don't just throw it out there in the universe and walk away. That's a wish. That's
Yes.
a wish that it will happen, right? So you own it by saying, now that I've defined this, now that I'm deciding where I want to start, what is within my power? What is it within my autonomy, my control to make it happen?
Mhm.
What can I do? How can I adjust my schedule? How can I adjust my resources? Who can I pull from my team to tap into and let them use their zone of genius, right?
Yes.
Use their autonomy, know the expectations, and just go forward and be crazy great with
Mm.
what we're trying to accomplish, right? So owning that and then nurturing it. How do we nurture it? By starting to take those actions, talking to people about it, getting clear about your message, having the confidence, the courage to present the idea so that people can buy into it. And then if there are any acquisitions, resources, people, whatever the case may need to be, bringing them into it, putting them in place, assigning things,
Mhm.
right? Setting those standards and expectations. Everybody knows what we're moving towards so that we can start accomplishing the goal. And then the E is execute. Do it, right? Back those things that you've nurtured, that you've defined, that you've decided on. Let's make those tasks, make them actionable. They're verbs, right? Make those actionable tasks and back them to a calendar so that they get accomplished. So that ultimate goal, right? There's an end in mind. That podcast is going to launch by a certain date. That, that blog is going to launch. That product, that service, that course, whatever it may be, is going to launch by a certain date. You at some point, I tell people you have to go to market, right?
Mhm.
So if you don't have a defined start date and a defined completion date, you don't have a project and you're never going to get it done. You're
Right.
never going to accomplish it. And so the done formula helps them really, again, break it down so that they can not be overwhelmed, but relieved and actually see like, this was an idea, but now this is actually happening for me.
Right.
Like this is becoming my reality. This is a lifestyle, and I am enjoying the process because it's not consuming me. And
Right.
so that's the done formula. No matter what level, the entity, the person in business, even the idea that they're creating, they can use those very practical, small steps to go from idea to manifestation and start making their visions, their dreams, their reality.
Awesome. That's wonderful. So I'm wondering, do you have people that say want to create a course, go through this process with you, or is it primarily to start a business? What are some of the typical types of clients that would use this process?
Oh, so that's the cool thing. There aren't a typical type. And I haven't yet, minimized and say, oh, I'm only working with this type of person. If you know what you want to do, we'll
Uh-huh.
co-create how, regardless of what it is. So literally there are social media management company people who have companies that are like, I want to do Facebook community management. I also want to do social selling. How can I package my expertise? There are people, I want to launch a course, a webinar. How can I break that down and focus on that? I have hairstylists. COVID, right? Oh my gosh, if we have another shutdown and I can't style another hair, how am I going to make money? I want to teach now virtually my expertise. I want to launch a product, right? A hairstyling product system and have, really beautiful branding and labeling. Or there's a retired airline professional who now writes a blog with her Christian faith background to help encourage people in life, right? And in their business or whatever it is that they're pursuing. I have a real estate investor who
Okay.
does all the things. She does wholesaling, she does insurance claims, she does trucking, she does. I have a product person who does pillows and shirts and earrings and puzzles and all kinds of custom things. So it really doesn't matter. Education specialist now launching tutoring. Literally, Leslie, it doesn't matter what you're doing. It's
Right.
that you've decided you're going to do it and
Mhm.
that you're going to commit to the actions that it takes to follow through with it. So
Yeah.
truly, there isn't a limit on what you can accomplish.
Yeah.
And whether you're solopreneur or you have a team, face to face or remote, you can still apply this strategy to manifest your dream.
That's good. I think that helps people like me that this is new to
Yeah,
kind of wrap their heads around what someone with your expertise helps them with. Because,
absolutely.
somebody that wants to start a podcast, somebody that wants to create a course versus someone who wants to, create a blog, all
Yep.
those are very different, but they all have
Yes.
to have actionable steps. And
They
that's where you
all
come in.
Yep, and sometimes it's even like, for example, I have a really close friend. She in her late 20s, she was diagnosed with T2 diabetes. Now she uses that as a lifestyle, got certified as a health and wellness coach, and now helps other people in their journey, right? And so she's like, how can I now have a blog and a podcast and a community to help encourage women in this? I mean, she was able to successfully go through 8 months of pregnancy, no medication, and even breastfeed. Things that when you get certain kind of diagnosis, you think that's not going to happen for me. And she's proof that it can happen. She can't guarantee anybody anything, right? But she's using her life story and her practice in her own life to now help people see. And we're working through launching, every component of her vision slowly but surely, because she works full time still. And now she's a new mom, but she's like, I can't believe this is happening. This is becoming my reality. And she can see how a lifestyle is coming forward, through her own entity. So truly be encouraged that no matter how small you think you are, no matter how grand and complex you think you are, project management can absolutely help you through anything. And you are a person first. And
Mhm.
by acknowledging that and leveraging the people around you and the resources that you have available to you, using those wisely, we integrate people with processes, systems, and technology so they can do their thing.
That's
Yeah.
wonderful. Wow, that
Yeah.
makes so much more sense. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
So
You're
you must
welcome.
see a variety of mistakes. So what would you say is one of the most common mistakes that you see these entrepreneurs make?
Oh my gosh. So one of the most common mistakes is thinking that everything's going to happen fast,
Oh,
right? That's one. Like, because they have an idea and I want to launch it today and it's going to be six figures tomorrow. Hey, anything is possible. however, let's figure out how we can make that happen, because it's not that your goal is unreasonable, right? Your goal isn't unreasonable. It's how to get there. And a lot of people start with how. That would be the next common mistake. So it's speed, then it's how. And it's like, of course you're going to be overwhelmed and feel defeated, or have a lot of mistakes when you start with how, if you've gotten clear yet on what you're going to do,
Mhm.
what it's going to take to accomplish it, who is needed to get there, where it's going to have the greatest impact. If you don't design those, if you don't get clear about those things first,
Mhm.
your how is going to be miserable.
Right.
Your how is going to seem like, I can't get this accomplished. So
Mhm.
don't start with how, truly start with what.
Yes.
Truly start with what, and have that deep, impassioned why. Because when things don't go as planned, I tell people all the time, a project or a plan is a roadmap. It is not a guarantee. The destination, though, doesn't change. You might have to take an alternate path to get there, right? You want to go on a plane. You might have to come off the plane and take a train. You
Mhm.
might have to come off the train and get on a boat. You might have to come out the boat and get on a bus or a car, and you might even have to walk and crawl sometimes before you can run. That's okay.
Right.
Get there anyway, right? Get there anyway. That's why we have the roadmap, because there are alternate paths, there are detours that you can take to
Mhm.
still get there. So speed, starting with how, and I think the cost, not just money,
Mhm.
time,
Yeah.
right? Personally, like being willing to situate things in such a way that you can be available to accomplish things. But I also share that an opportunity that costs you everything is not an opportunity,
Mm.
right? There should be some type of balance that we can create, not find, because as we know, something will always fill our time,
Yes.
right? But
Mm.
we can create a balance based on what is important to you and based on what you need to manage this opportunity. And it always requires a little bit more heavy lift in the beginning, right? Because you're establishing the foundation. But we all know, just like a building, once the foundation is set and is solid,
Mhm.
you can skyrocket. You
Yeah.
can skyrocket. So put in that effort at the beginning so that you can move more passively through it and actually see the finish.
Yes. Yes. That's awesome. Very wise words.
Thank you.
So, what changes have you seen in small business owners or job seekers, moms that are looking for work since the pandemic?
Ooh, so changes, I would say perspective.
Mm.
Change in perspective. Me personally, we shared, before we started recording,
Yeah.
I too am a mom. I'm a single mom by divorce. My daughter is 6. We are doing full-time virtual kindergarten. Ah,
Yeah.
hello, somebody, right? I
Right.
share openly. I am not the mom that actually, left her traditional employment career to be home with her daughter. I am not. I am not. And I commend mothers who want to do that. I'm like, that bone, I just didn't quite get that rib. Right? And it doesn't have anything to do with love, right? It's just
Right.
that I'm not early childhood education. So I'm so grateful for our area that has made it so feasible for parents to manage. And then perspective, right?
Yes.
It's like, all right, I said I wanted to be closer to home. I just didn't know it was going to be like this.
Yes. At
And
home.
so at home, literally, both of us, like her desk is right here. You could probably see it, right?
Mhm.
And so it's like being flexible
Mhm.
is the big perspective. You know what? My days are as fun as I make them.
Yeah.
Our days are as fun as we make them. So what can we do? And oh yeah, by the way, I'm an entrepreneur. I've got autonomy. If I don't do it between 9 and 5, so what? If
That's
it
right.
didn't require me to meet with anybody, if I
Mhm.
have to do it after I put her to bed, that's okay. If I have to do it before I wake her up in the morning, that's okay. If I move our midday recess to an afternoon because another opportunity has come up, let's communicate it, explain it to her at her level as best as possible. And
Mhm.
she gives me so much grace. It's okay.
Mhm.
This virtual reality that we live in, so remote work for me wasn't new because of project management, right? In the
Mhm.
corporate setting, most of our vendors were not in our same country anyway, let alone same time zone. So we were working remotely anyway, a lot of the times. On my own, though, it's like, wow, I've been able to connect with more people. I have been able to offer more services and more uplift, inspiration, keynote speeches, workshops, networking events than I ever did pre-COVID. Because again, as a single mom, right? If I didn't have childcare, if it wasn't something that was close to the job and I can kind of squeeze it in before having to pick her up from childcare or whatever the case may be, I had to opt out of many things,
Right.
right? Because like most moms who care, you don't just leave your child with anybody,
Mhm.
right? So if those key people aren't available, and my family isn't aren't local, so it's a very small circle. And if those key people aren't available for whatever reason, I have to be present as mommy.
Yeah.
That I'm a woman first, I'm a mother second, and then comes the business and everything else for what I'm doing.
Mhm.
So being flexible and absolutely being open to opportunities through virtual networking has been amazing. Amazing. I mean, in 2020, just for an example, and to encourage other moms out there, in 2020, I was able to accomplish 25 connections, right? 25 as in like collaborative events, not those that I hosted, but those that I partnered, like you presented this opportunity and welcomed me on this show, right?
Mhm.
I was able to do that last year in 2020 and I thought I was doing something. Well, going forward, I said, well, I want 2021 to be focused on increasing value and visibility through collaboration.
Yeah.
I've exceeded that just in the month of January,
Oh, that's wonderful.
right? And so I'm like, whoa, this is working. It comes together so easily because how easy is it for you to show up and just talk about your thing,
Mm.
right? What you do, how you serve others. Just takes a few minutes to do that. That's the easy part of your business opportunity. So take advantage of this virtual reality through which we're working and be flexible, give yourself grace, increase your perspective and see this not as a hindrance. No, it's not convenient. Yes, a lot of days it really does feel like it sucks, but let's focus on the facts over our feelings and pursue, show up and seek out the opportunities. Because when we don't show up, we do ourselves and everyone else we intend to serve a disservice. So be you and use this virtual reality to your benefit.
Yes. And
Yeah.
sort of reminded me something. I have a 13-year-old and some days aren't good. She's in school. She's not at home. Some days are good and some days aren't, but
Yeah.
I have to remind her, like I have to remind myself, we
Mhm.
can either choose to focus on the positive,
That's right.
or we can hear the little negative Nellies that want to, constantly be in our ear. But
That's
those are
right.
usually a very small percentage of our day.
Very.
I mean, we all have bad days and we all have good days, but we have to
Yes.
choose the joy and choose the positives in our life, because we
Yes.
can always find those when we're searching. I mean,
You are
you
so
know,
right.
we live in a beautiful world and there's just a lot of things to choose to find joy in and not
You are
dwell on
so
those
right.
negatives.
You are so right. It reminds me of the hardship when I was going through my divorce and people say, well, Tawana, how are you? I just said, I'm choosing to be well. And
Mhm.
that was just an honest answer, right?
Yes.
We can always go into how we really feel and how bad it sucks, and we're not saying don't acknowledge that,
Mhm.
because if you need help, seek help, right?
Yeah.
Seek professional counseling. If you're spiritual, seek spiritual help, seek support groups. Let your family know and your friends, those are that you can entrust with what's happening in your life, good or otherwise. This is where I am and this is who I can't be right now. I don't have it, right? I just don't have it. People who mind don't matter, and people who matter don't mind. And
Mhm.
I say that, loosely. I'm not saying people don't matter, but
Yeah.
literally, people who really care about you will understand and they will meet you where you are,
Right.
right? And when you're ready for more, they will receive you where you are. And that's the reciprocity factor in our relationships. And that's business as well. You
Mhm.
know,
Yeah.
under promise and over deliver.
That's right.
Show up as your best and just do what you do well. Keep the principles at
Yeah.
the forefront, because what you focus on grows. And so what you shared, Leslie, by saying like, yeah, some days aren't great. That's the truth. Acknowledge that. Like, today isn't great. Now, what do I need or who can help?
Mhm.
And seek that out.
Yeah.
Seek that out. Yeah.
And you've mentioned a few times grace. We sometimes we show grace to others, but not ourselves.
Not
It's
ourselves.
important to show ourselves some grace too when we mess up or make a mistake or whatever it
Yeah.
might be.
Yep. And that's the accountability coaching side of my business too,
Mhm.
is helping people stay loyal to themselves.
Mm,
right? Because
yeah.
as business owners, we will show up for our client commitments. We will do the client work. We will show up for the appointments, but we just keep putting those little, whether they are revenue generating activities that are in the background, that people don't see, follow ups, and just a self care and planning and all those things that we need. They're a necessity. They are essential for us to be thriving and not just surviving in our personal lives and in our business entities. Yet we just push ourselves to the side all the
Mhm.
time. And so it's like, get an accountability partner so that you can be loyal to you.
Yeah.
What do you also need to succeed?
Mm.
Airplane approach, right? Put on your oxygen mask first,
Yeah.
and then you can assist the passengers around you. So self care and prioritization of self is not bad, and it's not
Yeah.
a luxury. It's our responsibility, and
Mhm.
it's a process. We work on it. Some days we're great at it. Some days we're like, okay, yeah, quite did not follow that bed alarm I set.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, though, tomorrow, if given to me, will be a new day. And
That's
we just keep processing it. But start with yourself first. Give yourself time to read, give yourself time to breathe, give yourself, meal prep if you have to, go on a quick walk. I don't know if it's inside, outside, whatever your environment allows you to do.
right.
Just start doing those small things
Yeah.
and watch them grow, that compound, right? They
Mm.
will compound over time if you do them consistently, and you will get that relief. You will get that rejuvenation. You will reconnect with the passion that you had for why you were on your entrepreneurship journey in the first place. Because what
Yeah.
we do in our businesses and why we started them are not the same thing.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Juana. Now, if somebody wants to know where they can learn more about you or learn about your services, where can they find you?
Absolutely. Thank you, Leslie. You can find me if you at Bootstrap Dreams. You can find me in all places. I do encourage you, though, connect with me on Facebook, most particularly. I have a Facebook group. It's free, results driven strategies for women entrepreneurs. And we are such a mighty community, the supportive. It's hashtag community over competition every day. That is the culture. Connect with us there, join us. There are so many opportunities, guest speaking opportunities. You can go live and practice in the group if you're afraid to go live and do your offer and your pitch. I do live accountability coaching every Tuesday. I mean, it is just, it's
Oh,
so robust. Yes, it's so robust. It's so fun. We do a lot of live Q&A and in the group, off the group things. We work together. And if you ever want my service, all you got to do is DM me to get the business consulting, the project management, and accountability coaching. It's all one big, package with the bow on it.
beautiful. So that was at Bootstrap Dreams for anyone that was
Yes.
trying to get that. And
Yep.
your website is the same. Is that right?
It is bootstrapdreams.com.
Perfect. Well, thank you
Yes.
so much, Juana. You've been a wealth of information and just so fun to get to know.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate getting to know you better and being here with you all as well. It has been so fun.
Thank you.